I'm dreaming of a white.
No, 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 no. We are not ready for that. Oh, wait. Damn it, Bing Crosby. We weren't ready. Well, anyways, here it is. Winter 2020 has begun, as you can see. We are coated in a good thick blanket, probably about 1.5 inches of snow came in last night. So that's just wonderful. It's not even Halloween yet, actually. And yeah, here we are. Speaking of Halloween, I had Carmen pick up some Halloween candy yesterday. And so she picked up a combination. Some was like the full-size chocolate bars, and some was the fun size, so to speak, right? The multi-packs. I tell you, that's dangerous. You know, when you eat a candy bar, it's like a full-size chocolate bar. You don't reach for a second one without feeling, you know, pretty guilty. Like, oh, I'm being a bit of a glutton. But you get into the fun size one, you eat one, and you're like, I like to have fun. You eat two, and you're like, I like to party. 40 fun-size chocolate bars later, you're just like, oh, but you had a good time, right? So that's why they're dangerous. Right, we're in the chicken coop here at the farm, and as you can see, lots of girls in here today with the big shift in the weather. They're not very enthused about being out in the snow. And also with the shift in the weather, there is a ton of people online asking the question, when should I heat my chicken coop? Well, as you can see, no heaters. We have one heat lamp in here for when it gets to -30, -35. We can keep it on the nesting boxes. That is it. Other than that, it doesn't run. So then we put that out there. Hey, we don't heat our chicken coop. And people always come back with, you know, what about bird health? What about, you know, frostbite and all that stuff? Well, I'm here to tell you, you don't need to heat your chicken coop. All right, so let's deal with the first one, and that's temperature. That's the easy one to deal with. And that comes down to having enough birds per square foot in your chicken house. Chickens are like little metabolic furnaces, right? They put off a ton of heat, but you still got to have enough of them. You got to have a good insulated chicken house, and it's got to be draft free. Now, draft free doesn't mean that it doesn't have ventilation. Where does ventilation come into play? Ventilation comes into play in regards to humidity. Humidity is the other one that, you know, combined with heat, is going to make or break your chicken house. So you're going to want to keep the humidity in your chicken house right around 50%. Now, one way you can do that is by ventilation. So you can see we got a couple windows in our chicken house there. They're on the south facing side, so they provide a lot of natural light to the chickens, but they also provide a source of ventilation for us. We also have an overhead vent on the roost, and we keep the hatch open 365 days of the year. Well, that's not true. If it gets to -35, we're going to close the hatch, but we're going to open another vent just to kind of keep things moving in here. Chickens are going to come in with a lot of snow and ice on their feet. Not so much when it's super cold, but days like today where it's, you know, -8 or 9, I think it is today, and the snow is kind of wet. They're going to drag all that moisture in. So, okay, how do I combat that? You really can't. They're going to bring in on their feet what they're going to bring in on their feet. But you can see on the floor of our chicken house here, we got a deep bedding system. The pine shavings in that help to soak up a ton of moisture, and then natural ventilation helps to release that into the atmosphere. You want to have air movement, but not wind, right? You still want your coop to be draft free. So the other secret to reducing humidity is, what's your water source for your chickens? So you can see we just have a standard gravity fed water fount here. We use these until it's about -15, and then the temperature in the actual chicken house will drop below 0, and then these things tend to freeze, and we can plug in an electric, like a heated water. What I don't recommend in the winter months is like a nipple water, you know, the vertical type with the nipples face down, and the chickens will tap it with their beaks and they get a drop of water. Quite often there's a second drop of water there that's going to fall right onto your deep bedding. So you're going to get a bunch of water on your floor mixing with the litter and the wood shavings and the manure, and all that's going to do is create mold, and that kind of gets very not good for the chicken's lungs, right? The other thing that's not good for the lungs is when it's too dry. So as I said earlier, you want to keep that balance at around 50%, because if it's too dry, it's just like us, right? You get a dry, tickly throat. It's not comfortable. It also creates a lot of dust inside the chicken house. dust also will contribute to poor respiratory health for your birds. Well, I think Charlotte and I are going to head over, feed the pigs, feed the sheep. We're even going to fork some hay over to the horses because a little bit of snow, it's kind of miserable for them to have to scratch out and paw out a meal out of what's left in the pasture there. So we'll throw them a couple mouthfuls of hay and they'll enjoy that. We got the chickens, the sheep, the pigs, the horses, everybody fed. I just got to drag the sprayer into the shop. It's one of the things, put quite a bit of time and effort and even a bit of money into that thing earlier this summer to get it running because some of the valves were cracked and the hoses were split and stuff. And yeah, it's still got water in it. And here it got really cold last night, so I'm hoping I didn't crack anything because that would be embarrassing. And anyways, I'm gonna get that dragged in the shop and get it hopefully defrosted without any leaks. And I can actually get it winterized and put away where it needs to be for the winter. I'm actually super surprised. I dragged this thing out of the tall grass, and as you can see, the water's draining right out of it. It didn't even freeze. So when I originally repaired it, I put dish soap in the water, and I don't know if that altered the salinity of the water or just what it did, but yeah, it's not frozen, and here it's cold out. There's snow on the ground. It was -12 last night, and this did not freeze. So I'm gonna take that horseshoe and use it all the way today and get some antifreeze in this thing and get it put to bed properly, because any other day of the week, this thing would have been frozen, the pump would have been cracked, the hoses would have been wrecked. It would have been a bad deal. Well, I don't know if you can hear that in the background or not, but you can definitely see the steam. Yeah, that's the chimney for the overhead radiant heater in the shop. So the thermostat for that is set at like 4 or 5 degrees and it's kicked on. So yeah, it's cold out. And yeah, definitely long john weather, I guess. Better get stocked up on hot chocolate here. Well, I got the haul of eggs for the day. I'm just gonna go inside. Carmen's making supper. What's she making? Chicken. That's right, girls. You better keep laying. Anyhow, for now, I'm gonna let you go. I hope you have a fantastic evening. We'll see you tomorrow.